long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today it's Revenge of the Sith. No, actually it's from The Force Awakens. It's the Bandai Millennium Falcon in 1/144 scale. Kindly loaned to the channel by Neil from Creative Time Wasting. And he was sort of asking me, saying, have you seen Bandai? Because I think I mentioned Bandai in passing at one point. And it just reminds me of his reaction. Reminded me. I said, no, I haven't. I've never had Bandai. And it's like, oh. And it reminded me of Jeremy Clarkson on Top Gear when he famously said, he stood there and he said, similar jacket to me, actually, now I think about it. That's a bit worried. I think I'm better dressed than him in other areas. And he said famously, until you've owned an Alfa Romeo, you can never be considered to be a serious petrol head. Well, I have owned, or at least had, an Alfa Romeo as a company car from you. I'm trusting Bandai is going to be better than that experience, because it was rubbish. It didn't like cold weather, all the electrics failed, bits of it kept falling off, literally falling off, because they were made of basically egg box materials, the sump guard underneath. That's a long story. Anyway, that's not for this channel. This is a modelling channel, so back to the point in hand. So, Bandai. If you haven't had a Bandai, or you've never handled a Bandai, then you're not a serious modeller, right? This is what a lot of the people who know better, shall we say, will tell you. So, today we're going to right a great wrong. We're going to reveal ourselves to the Jedi. Oh, speaking of reveal ourselves, I've got a reveal going on my other channel, but just keep your eyes and ears open for something that's going to be quite amazing. But anyway, digressing again. So let's get back to Star Wars. Now, the only thing that slightly worries me about this is it's a beautiful packaging. We'll come to that in a minute. But from The Force Awakens, now my take on Star Wars. First of all, it's the Millennium Falcon, and with Neil, who owns this kit, it was a case of Millennium Falcon. And there was a bit of a miscommunication where I don't know if he missed my reply or if I didn't reply. Something went wrong and I thought I'd replied and I was waiting for this and it never turned up. And I went back and I thought, I'm not sure if I did reply. Irrelevant now. But I was getting a bit like Lord Vader. I was like, I want that ship, not excuses. Don't fail me again, Admiral. And it seems appropriate because, of course, I told everybody recently, a couple of weeks ago, was my big birthday, and on my big birthday, in the hotel, very posh hotel I was staying in, courtesy of my wife, they had their own cinema, and my birthday treat was I got to see The Empire Strikes Back on the big-ish screen. It was about 75-inch screen or something. It wasn't huge, but it was a very small room. But it was really good. It felt very cinematic, the sort of impression it left on you. It was like being back in the cinema. And it was epic, Now, the only thing that bothers me about this is from The Force Awakens, and there is just one or two, literally, differences, which I'll zoom you in. So thanks again to Neil. I'm sort of making a bit of a joke about this now. But thanks to Neil for being kind enough to share this with us. And he's told me to open all the bags at all costs. So we are going to have a proper look at this. And, of course, the real aircraft, the real models, I should say, for the original films, were like Greeblies, weren't they, where they'd built them from... they'd sort of hodgepodged them together from lots of other plastic kits, and we will, I'm sure, see odd things which might remind us of other vehicles, shall we say. Force Awakens, the difference is the radar dish on the top. In The Force Awakens, it seems to be basically a different shape. Instead of being round like a traditional radar dish, it's now this sort of rectangular shape, shall we say. And I've got to be honest with you, I am one of the greatest Star Wars fans on the planet. I can quote from every film until the new trilogy, which I thought was absolute rubbish. I sat in the cinema. I mean, technically they're brilliant. Please don't misunderstand me. The technical side, the effects people and all that stuff, totally amazing. Even the CGI is brilliant, really. But I just think they're just dire stories, and they're just done by lazy people without proper scripts, without proper stories, without any kind of proper understanding of the characters and the canon of Star Wars. And no, I don't think they love Star Wars the way that most of us do. And I sat there in the cinema. Actually, my experience of The Force Awakens, should have mentioned this. My experience of The Force Awakens was actually ruined by a couple sat to my right, the man of whom had the worst flatulence I've ever experienced, the smell of bad eggs, and I suffered this for over an hour. It was unbelievable. Anyway, that really spoiled it. But quite apart from this smelly man, it's absolutely foul, but quite apart from that, I sat there and I was looking around the cinema thinking, do these people not realise this is a remake? This is awful. This is like a very poorly conceived, badly written remake of the original Star Wars film. It was shocking to me. And I thought, why have they done that? It makes no sense. It doesn't have any chronological, doesn't follow on from the first two trilogies. And it just seemed absurd, the whole thing. And then I saw The Last Jedi 2 years later, and that was it for me. I haven't seen the final film. I have no intentions of ever watching it. The Rise of Skywalker. I've not seen it. I've seen clips. I've probably not seen more than about 5 or 6 minutes of the movie. And I've no intentions to change that. I know from what everybody else has told me, it's just more of the same drivel. Rehashing old characters, fan service, no proper writing, no proper vision, no proper storytelling at all. Absolutely shocking. So this is turning into an anti-Star Wars rant. I'm not anti-Star Wars. I love Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back, that was my crowning, the cherry on the cake on my birthday, because by this time I knew my Spitfire ride was cancelled. So this was the peak of the weekend, really. And to see Luke and Yoda and Luke battling Vader and then, all the dramatic stuff near the end. Very, very enjoyable experience, and I felt like a 14-year-old kid again, which is what I was the first time. Remarkable. But these last films with J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson, just a disaster, really. Absolute disaster. I mean, I enjoyed Rogue One. I did enjoy that film because that seemed to put lots of things into context, and it followed a kind of logical synopsis with the rest of the movies, whereas the last three of the new trilogy it's just all over the place. There's so many holes in it that you could just sit there and think this is just absolute garbage. It's no wonder that Disney have got panned for these films, because they've ruined George Lucas' legacy. Ruined it. Star Wars just isn't the same. It was something absolutely magical that was imaginative, and it had everything. It was like a fairy tale. It was a romance. The original film. It had knights. It was like Knights of the Round Table. Yeah, it's a reworking of something very, very, very cleverly reworking. And then these last films were absolutely ham-fisted. Contemporary sort of woke politics was thrown in there. It was just a load of rubbish, quite frankly. Anyway, I've definitely gone off on a rant. Nothing to do that. Anyway, we're not going to hold that against this kit. We're not going to do that at all. I'll just ignore it's the Force Awakens version. We're going to say thank you to Neil, because it looks like something special, actually, it is. And I think we're just going to take it on face value and not let ourselves be dragged down by the nonsense that is the last three Star Wars films. Just final point, I mentioned that the last one I saw was The Last Jedi, and I would just say there were elements of that film that I did enjoy, but not many. And the elements I enjoyed, the only elements featured Mark Hamill. Force Awakens, they killed off Han Solo. Absolutely stupid. And then, ironically, Carrie Fisher died, weeks after they'd finished it, sadly. Which is, so they killed off the wrong character. You don't go killing off characters unless you have something else better to, unless it's kind of part of a bigger story. And it wasn't. It was just ham-fisted and clumsily done. Childish writing, I thought. It was like Generation Z's with no talent, a copy and pasting stuff from all over the place. Just clumsily put together, no flow to it at all. And then, as I say, Mark Hamill appeared. And I actually thought his scenes, not the early ones, but his final scene, really, his final scenes, I thought were really good. And it's the only part of the film that's worth watching, quite frankly. This drawn-out, long, protracted space chase. The scenes, part of the plot where they're at the casino is just awful. And, Daisy Ridley, I'm sorry, I don't think she can act her way out of a paper bag, you know. When you think about other female heroines in science fiction, like Sigourney Weaver in Alien, a proper female hero that doesn't get magical powers by magic without any training. I mean, the whole thing is absurd, isn't it, really? It's turned into a Star Wars run. This is for the other channel. I'm supposed to be doing models. Tell you what, I might come back to that. We might have a more in-depth analysis, because I said I was going to do movies. I've gone a bit off script here. I've gone rogue. That's the wrong channel. So anyway, back to the... Well, I'm sure many of you will agree with me. You know, there's nothing wrong with having strong female characters if they are a proper, believable, developed character. And the problem with Rey in Star Wars is it's pathetically done. It's like written by an 8-year-old. What the... In fact, when I was 8, I wouldn't have written anything as daft as that, come to think of it. You know, 5-6-year-old stuff this was. She just magically discovers the Force, you know, 1 minute when she's on the Starkiller base, whatever it's called, which is, even by its name sounds childish. Pathetic, all of it, from start to finish. Gibberish. Only good thing in The Force Awakens was Han Solo and Chewbacca. That was it. Adam Driver, I wasn't even a big fan of him either, really. No, I'm not convinced at all. And the best small part in The Force Awakens was Daniel Craig as a stormtrooper. Anyway, back to the job in hand. I'm sorry, I've gone rogue. You see, this is why I have to have the second channel. But I must try to remember which one I'm recording. I'm not going to edit that out. I think that a lot of you need to hear that, and I'd like to hear your thoughts, and then we'll perhaps get into that in more detail another day on the other channel. Back to Neil's kit. Bandai, Star Wars, Millennium Falcon from The Force Awakens. Let's have a look at this packaging. It comes with a really nice box. I've got to say, it looks like it's got a base with it as well. Right, let's zoom you in. Here we go. Whoops. Here we go. Yes, now then. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. I think that the imagination and the creativity of these guys, you know, the model makers, people like Doug McClure and John Dykstra and all those model makers that worked at ILM, they did such a fantastic job back in the 70s when they first started doing this. I mean, they were working on this back in 76, you know, absolutely incredible. And they were using all this new blue screen. It's blue screen then, not green screen back in those days. Unfortunately, it's all in Japanese on the side, so I can't read you what it's actually saying here. But I think it's basically showing a few clips from the film, and then I think it's saying you've got options of having blinds. I hope there's some English instructions, that's all I can say. Well, let's have a look what we got, because I think this is going to be a bit of a treat for us. Certainly in terms of, I think, the plastic quality, if nothing else. I think that Airfix fans and Airfix employees, look away now. Okay, let's have a look at what we got. Right then, oh okay, we've got this big dish, because it's a bit like a flying saucer, isn't it, the Millennium Falcon, but it doesn't rotate. I think that's where the original idea came from. A more sort of dynamic looking flying saucer. Well, I'm seeing things that remind me of bits of tanks already. So, a bit of a greedly build thing going on there. Now Neil wants me to open the bag, so I will do. I'll reseal them for him later. Oh, we've got a bit of Tatooine desert. Well then. I'll pop that box over there so it's not in the way. And I'll pop those there. I might just put on my other glasses once I start getting into the plastic. So I've had them all. These have been redone, so both the glasses you see in the picture are all brand new lenses. So I'm right up to date now. I can see what I'm doing. And once I put those on, there's really no excuses. Oh my goodness! Look at these decals. Okay. Oh wow. Are they decals? They almost look like masks. I think they're stickers, aren't they? Actually. I think they're I think you've got an option. You've got stickers, self-adhesive stickers, or decals, water slide decals. Oh, interesting. Right, let's read. Let's not jump around. Let's read what it says, if anything. Yeah, Disney logo. Worst thing that ever happened to Star Wars. Anyway. Right. So, are there figures included? Don't think there were. No, the figures are separate. Oh, there are figures included. There are going to be some figures. My God, they're tiny. Oh, yeah, I'll definitely need those glasses. And is there a Rey figure? There's a Rey figure. God, they're tiny. They're about 0.5 centimetre. Yeah, Right, okay, so what have we got? Does it have any English at all here? I'm sorry to tell you that it doesn't have any English whatsoever, which I think is a bit of a mistake by Bandai. I can understand Japanese being there, of course, but I think we should have English as well, like Zokimura managed it, don't they? So that, it's not off to a good start, it's not off to a good start. Right, let me get my, my little zoomer and I'll show you what we've got here. And I think it's saying you can have lights. I think it's just not in English, so I'm going to have to second guess what they're saying here. I think what they're saying here at the top, they're saying you can have lights at the back for the engines, lights in the cockpit and lights where the door opens at the side. So you've got a little well, it looks fairly simple, doesn't it? You've got a little cockpit section which just drops into the outer sort of module, and they show it like with a graphic here. You can see it's sort of highlighted in dark grey. Then you've got the access tunnel that goes into the cockpit, of course, and it looks like you've got an option of an opaqued over or a completely clear cockpit glass. Just a second. See if we can spot that. Do we have clear parts in here? We do. So we've definitely got clear. And there's a second one. Doesn't make it entirely clear. Pardon the pun. Yeah, I can see this is going to be a little bit of a struggle for us because it's not in English. So we're just having to sort of second guess and interpret what they're saying without an interpreter. I think basically there's like a shroud. I think for when it's lands in the desert, like on Tatooine, I think it has like a shield, like a sun shield. Quite how that's achieved, I'm not entirely clear because it's not super clear there. Anyway, you put your instruments in. I think I'm going to have to flick through this quickly because I think it might drive me mad otherwise. You've got the sort of forward, bodywork. I'm not sure what to call these parts, to be quite honest, but you know the sort of fork at the front, the fork shape it has. The forward wings, shall we call it, almost. And then you've got all this detail that goes in down the side, all the compressors and motors and alluvial dampers and all that stuff. Yeah, and it's mighty details. That all goes together in sections there. Then you've got the what looks like the bottom half of the main body, as it were, the fuselage, if that's the right word. And you've got all these little sections which go in there. Looks like they all click in. Now I have to say, I'm not all this stuff about you're not a proper model unless you've had a Bandai. Well, I don't think Bandai are world leaders in instructions. Yeah, if you take your time, I think you can manage your way through this without too much trouble. But it's not easy on the eye. I can imagine kids would be maybe a bit put off by this. Anyway, then we've got all these sort of internal sections going in, and there's a viewport. I think it's a docking port at the side. No descriptions in English, so I'm just guessing what they really are. Anyway, you've got all these dampers, you've got all this hydraulics and piping that's going in the side, you've got your engines here coming in at the back, and of course you can illuminate these. I think there's two versions. I think one's kind of open and the other one isn't, so if you want to backlight it you can. And it carries on the same vein there. It really needs some English, this does, I've got to be honest. It's a bit of a nightmare, and there's a well, look, I think this is an electronic module that you might be able to purchase. Again, I'm guessing. I think this is a sound and light module that you might be able to get as an optional extra, which I don't think is included. But not a single word in English, so I just can't tell you. That's the way I'm reading it. Can you see it there? That looks like an electronic module that you'd pop in to create the light and sound of the Falcon. Just struggling with this, aren't we, really? It's not quite what I was expecting. I thought there'd be a bit more clarity than this. Yeah, so basically building up the top then where the gun cannon emplacement goes, and the bottom section where the sort of loading area is. You've got these sort of cooling fan things at the top, and it looks like that they have covers on them. because I've got to tell you, underneath it looks very much like a Panther tank's cooling fans on a Panther tank or similar. And they've got some mesh, I think, that goes on the top. And you've got all these little parts here that go around the engines at the back. And again, more bits of sort of trunking of wiring. What looks like a very good stand, a multi-pose stand. Now that I approve of. It's like a big version of a Matchbox stand. That looks cool. Yes, I like that. So that, you can see here it's got multi-pose head. So that's very, very good. And then it goes on this base that's like TATOOINE. And then, what's that trying to tell us there? I think it has like a little stand to just elevate it slightly. I don't know what. And then we have, what do we have? Oh, these are the. This is the landing gear. This is building the landing gear for the Falcon. Clear as mud, isn't it? Really, just really terrible. I'm sorry. They're not going to get high. This is down with, you know, border model for a clarity. Terrible. Nothing. Not a word in English. Absolute madness. I mean, they don't just sell them in Japan, so I don't know why they think they can get away with that. Anyway, that's you putting on all your gear. If you're not having it on the stand, you're going to have it on the sitting on the flat like it is here, as if it's on the desert base. There we go. Well, that was a bit disappointing, to be honest. Yeah, and then you've got this. I'm pretty sure you've got a choice of either stickers or actual water slide decals as one set of each. And then you've got these characters, which again don't go into a lot of detail about the painting of them or anything. So far I am feeling a little bit. I'm feeling a little bit disappointed. We haven't got to the plastic, which I know is going to be good. But as an overall package, I think it's not there with Zokimura or Tamiya, is it? Overall, it's not going to be a 10, I'm afraid. I can tell you that straight away, because that's a bit disappointing. Utter confusion reigning there. And there's quite on this scale. There's quite a lot of fiddly parts as well, so you need to have clarity, I think. Anyway, there we go. That's just my 4 pence. Let's have a look at what we got. Now it will kind of redeem itself, I think. Let us see what we have here. Now, by the way, I'm going to need my ruler because I need to cut these bags fairly accurately, so I'll get that over there. So, now remember, our friend Neil from Creative Time Wasting, he's the one that does the Creative Matchbox Wasting. And this is where I get my own back on him again, a bit like with his Phantom when I started building it. I didn't actually get any clue on it, it's okay, I didn't cut any parts off, but I started putting things together. I could almost hear his heart rate going up from here, and I live about 200 miles away. Now then, look at this. Whoa! Yeah, it's dodging the asteroid field. Do 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 do. Whoa! You know the scenes I'm talking about. Anyway, that wasn't in The Force Awakens, so be quiet. Let's have a closer look then, because I think this plastic is going to wow us. Now this is the first time I've had my hands on Bandai that I can remember. I thought I did have I could have sworn I did have another Star Wars kit. I thought it was the TIE Fighter, Vader's TIE Fighter, but I think that might have been MPC. They were quite expensive back in the day. There was the TIE Fighter and there was the X-Wing Fighter from MPC, and they were quite hard to get hold of. Where I lived up in the North Lake District, there was a little shop there that sold all this stuff, but I couldn't afford it, and I saved up the money, and by the time I saved up the pocket money, it had gone, and they had no more stock. I never got the X-Wing. I was really annoyed about it. I really wanted that as well, that X-Wing. I don't know. Anyway, enough of my background. Look at this. Haven't they done this nicely? I mean, it's really, really beautiful moulding, crisp as you like, and it feels crisp. You know, it's got all this sort of yeah. If you look here, see what I mean about the tank parts. These fans look awfully like a Panther tank fan, or maybe a Yag Panther. Looks like a Panther fan to me. 6 of them. And then there's all sorts of little bits and bobs that are almost certainly off of the tanks, I suspect. From the guys in California who are sort of bodging all this together for this ultimate Greebly build back in 1976. It's nice though, isn't it? I mean, look at the sharpness of the moulding there. These like power lines and hydraulic pipes and things. It's fantastic. It's so sharp. Absolutely amazing. Yes, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. So that's off to it's starting to recover its reputation, I think, with that. Let me just get some glue on here and see how it sticks together. You know, then we'll know if the fit's really as good as what the legend says it is. You know. I'll get my hand back for all those Matchbox kits he's made. I'm just kidding. It's fine. Oh, it won't come apart, or am I? It might be permanent. I think my reputation might be cooked if I did that. I just want to come apart. Oh, it's okay. It did. Wind him up. Right, that was very nice. We like that one, so I'm going to pop that back in there. And this one too. To protect it well, I presume that this bubble wrap did come from the factory. I presume it did. I think it probably did. Makes sense, doesn't it? Right, that's that done. Now then, let's have a look at our... I'm going to have to open it. This is where the knife comes in. You know, the bags are a bit more like the Korean manufacturers, actually. Something like Academy, I'd say. From Tamiya. This is the Desert Base and Stand. Oh, it's lovely. It's lovely. Look at this. Check this out. And the desert sort of dunes of the sand of Tatooine have done really well. That's absolutely cool. Huh. Yeah. I think it could have been a bit bigger. If there's any criticism, maybe just a little bit bigger, another inch each way would have been better. Looks a bit on the small side, you know, when you consider your Falcon is, isn't it? Let's grab it back again. It's a bit underdone, that, I think, a bit mean of them. Here's your base, and your Falcon is a lot bigger. You know what I mean? It sort of dwarfs it a bit too much. See what I mean? I think they could have gone a little bit bigger for us on that. That was a bit tighter Bandai, that was. Obviously the week they designed this, the Japanese yen was not doing so well. But it's got this multi-pose angleable head. Quite a sophisticated design, to be honest. I think that's quite impressive. So I like that. That's something I'd like to see in a lot more kits, to be honest. Yeah, and it's beautifully moulded. There's no flash. It's almost like looking at an ABS type of moulding. It's so good. Then we have got into little parts now. Now this is going to be some silences from me, because probably not a bad thing, but I'm going to struggle to know what these are. This is where we're going to have a few problems, I think. You know, so I can look at Spitfires and things, and it's like I know pretty much 80–90% of the parts, but on this, nothing. You know, no idea what it's supposed to be. I do think they should have put that instruction in English. That's a real error by them. Right, we've got here things like the landing gear, and I've got to say it's beautiful, actually. I'll just take my time on this because I think we need to see this properly. So let's have a look. Just move that over there a bit. I've got the background in the wrong place. Right. Landing gear legs. Look at those. Those are beautifully done, aren't they? You've got the back here of the engines. That's nice. That's the open version for you to put illumination in. Get some lights behind it, which would look proper cool. And you've got some of the interior bits here with like ladders. I think this is the one that runs up to the gun bay. With the laser cannon, and here is the laser cannon here that goes on the top and the bottom. It's really weird when you watch the first Star Wars film and you see them running up and down, you're thinking, where are they going? And they're actually not going very far, they're just, there's a laser cannon above and below the ship. Nearly called the aircraft then. Yeah. And then we've got millions of parts, we have no idea what they are, but let's have a good look at them. These are like the alluvial dampers, I think, at the back end and the engines. And again, there's some very fine moulding going on here, detail-wise. Here's all the other The legs, main gear legs. Nice, isn't it? Done it well. These are the mesh covers. I thought they were actually like a photo etch, but it's not. These are the ones that go on top of the Panther tank fans I mentioned. And there's actually 2 sets of this sprue. There's actually 2 lots of it. I didn't realise. Okay, so I will therefore 2 lots of that one, as you can see. So I'll put that away. It feels like you're seeing double, doesn't it? Yeah, I like that. It's the fineness of some of this stuff. I don't know if you, let me just come in again. I don't know if you really saw that properly. Perhaps I didn't dwell on it long enough. Have a look at this, the fineness of the moulding here. Take a good close look at this. See it? It's very, very good, isn't it? Yeah. By the way, just regarding the zoom on the camera, somebody said to me the other day, a friend of mine said, for God's sake, don't zoom in as much. He said, it's not the zooming and the timing of your zooming is great. He said, but it seems the focus drops off a cliff when you go at full zoom. I think he's right, actually. So, I always feel when I watch these videos on the playback that I zoom it too much, because as soon as I get to that max in, I'm trying to give you the biggest impression. Clearest impression, but it does seem to drop off a bit of a cliff, so I'm going to try not to go all in on the zoom and just come back 10% perhaps, because I think you'll get a much clearer, sharper image if I do that. Right, here we go. Okay, now this has got an interesting feature in it. This is the optional, I think it's optional, the blue bit, and this is very clever the way that Bandai have done this. Now this impresses me. Here's something I've never seen before. 2 colours on 1 sprue. Now it's actually like a separate piece that's cleverly been engineered in with like a click-in piece. Can you see that? So this is the engine at the back, the blue light for the engine. Obviously if you illuminate it, it looks even better. But look at the way they've engineered that in. It's clever, isn't it? See that? It's like a click-in section. How unusual. I'm impressed. That's very, very good. Now that really is engineering, isn't it? I don't think you're going to get that on your next Airfix, do you know what I mean? No disrespect, but do you know what I'm saying? Wow, that is a pretty amazing thing we've got there. So anyway, coming in here, I'm just going to say I'm going to not go all the way with the zoom. Let's have a close look at these, but look at the fineness. Oh my God, this is the finest moulding I think I've ever seen. Just look at this stuff. That is remarkable. I can't imagine any other manufacturer being able to mould stuff like that, really. It's so fine and so delicate. And this is why we've got this, you see the runner here, it's got like reinforced runners. Can you see how thick they look? There's like a, to give protection to those parts. I mean, those parts are quite stunning, to be honest. I think I'm going to go full zoom just to get you closer. Look at this. Look at that. Amazing. This is all the hydraulics and all the gubbins, gizmos. But isn't that beautiful plastic moulding, injection moulding of the very highest order, I would say. Then we've got the figures. Got to get in close here. Now I think we've got Han Solo and Chewie, and then Han Solo and Chewie standing up, and then we've got them sitting in the cockpit underneath. And then we've got, again, another Han Solo in a slightly different pose. Looks like he's twerking or something. That's a bit weird. What's all that about? He's sort of thrusting his hips forward. Best not ask too many questions. And that's Han on the left and Rey's on the right. Rey's not my favourite Star Wars character. I think she's... I mean, what does she bring to the party that Princess Leia didn't? Apart from a load of nonsense and woke rubbish. Great. Just weird. Just weird it is. A totally unconvincing character. Played by an unconvincing actress in my opinion. But anyway. And then you've got them sitting down in the cockpit again. So you've got the option. So with Rey and Han, or with Chewie and Han. I'd go with Chewie every time myself. Oh! Something like that he said. And then over here, again, we've got this clever engineering when they've gone and got the clear parts, and again, they've clipped them into the white part of the sprue. And you've got your... This is brilliant. It's total genius, isn't it? So you've got your cockpit glass house, canopy. Well, canopy isn't not the right word. Glass house, let's call it. Windows. And then you've got the windows top and bottom where the... it is top and bottom, isn't it? Or is it at the side? Yeah, I'm right, it's top and bottom. Where the sort of glass house area is for the... where the guns are mounted. Just trying to spot it. I can't see those very clearly. It's not that clear on the artwork. But yeah, and the parts are just perfect. Sheer perfection in the moulding here. And look at the engineering, the way they've combined that in. Clear parts combined in with the white sprue. Pure genius. I mean, this is almost like a... Almost deserves a design award, this sprue does, I think. That is quite remarkable. sheer genius. Sheer genius. Let's put that away. Get that nicely resealed for me on my little bag resealer. Be careful though, because there isn't a lot of pudding, as they say, to reseal it on. And then we've got some of the bigger parts for the sort of cockpit area. So I'll just bring you back. But that was impressive, wasn't it? I can see it's going to get 10 out of 10 for the plastic. I think that's a given. It's just those god-awful instructions that really disappointed me. I'm sure that Bandai could be better than that. Just go to Zokimura and get them to recommend a good translator for English. Even if it's only English, you know. Right, is this a duplicated part again? Yes, this is a duplicate, so there's two sets of the same. Oh no, there isn't, I beg your pardon. It looks like it is. That filming them, there are some parts duplicated and some are not. Okay, so let's have a look at this then. So here we've got, you've got the the surrounding shroud area for the gun platform at the top. That's the big round bit here that's coming up in the middle. Beautiful detail there, beautiful detail here. I'm going to put my big glasses on, just bear with me 1 second. Because I just want to see a little bit more. Oh yes, this is going to help me a lot. Wow! Oh my. There's definitely parts that I think have come from tanks here. Not sure if that is enough for Sherman. And then we've got the lower cockpit here. And these look like engine parts from I think a car. Looks like a V8 engine this. Look carefully at this here. Looks like a V8 engine laid out with its parts laid out flat. Can you see that? It's four cylinders and 4 cylinders. I think that's from a V8 engine from a truck or something. Look, I'm not kidding. Look, this looks like the top of an engine as well. Can you see that? These parts here. Make that out. Again, looks like a V8. Or is this a V10? That looks like parts from like a V10 racing car or something to me. Can you see it? See where I'm coming from? This is quite fun actually, trying to guess what they're all from, you know. Over here we've got the framework for the cockpit, the outer framework, into which your glass goes, of course. And then we've got lots and lots of oh yeah, I'm sure there's parts there that look like they're from a radial engine to me. Looks like the cooling fins off an engine. Looks very 70s, doesn't it, somehow? In a good way, yeah. How amazing. And then you've got all these other parts that go toward the front of the ship. I think you've got your controls here, sort of skimped on this. Here, I think, is the control instrument panel in the cockpit. It's just quite funny trying to spot what all these things are from. Not sure what these are exactly. It's a challenge, isn't it? Let's switch to the other sprue, and then we get the other end of the other gun port. I think the one that's underneath. And then we got these. This is if you don't use the clear parts for illumination for the engine. This is what they look like if you go for the filled in option. And over here. And again, lots of bits and bobs and bits of engines and all manner of things. Some of the older viewers may recognise car parts. I mean, look at this. This is clearly the transmission, at the bottom of the transmission of an engine. Where my finger is. Look closely at that. That's clearly the bottom of an engine transmission. Can you see it? The engine would be at this end. That is a transmission housing for sure, and they've added other bits to it. It's quite funny, isn't it? What else have we got here? It's just a challenge to recognise what everything is. Oh, here you've got the cockpit with all the seats. There we go. That's the actual seating in it. It's all pre-formed, and then you've got lots more of these interesting sort of greebly bits where you have to guess what they come from. Amazing, but the plastic moulding is just so detailed, and you can see little things like fire extinguishers and all sorts, if you look very closely, that have been stuck in there on the original model. Definitely fire extinguishers, and but that one is definitely a gearbox, isn't it? It looks like a lorry gearbox to me. I've never been so sure about anything. It's probably a Chevy or a Ford gearbox. Well, that's that one. So that was very impressive, actually. I mean, the plastic is just on another level, isn't it? And people say that they fit together absolutely beautifully. You know, they're just a bit like the Tamiya story I told about the Phantom, and I said, you know, the modern Tamiyas, it almost gives the impression that they're pre-magnetised, and you just cut them off, clean them up, and then just let go, and they go built. As if. Somebody should do an animation like that, shouldn't they, really? Alright. If I can get this back in, I'll be doing well, because it's a bit tricky. They're not overly generous with their bags, I've got to say. Not only just in length either, I mean in width as well. A bit tight. They're asking a lot. I need to get them back in that bag, so it can return to its final destination. Oh, it's another movie franchise, isn't it? It's okay. As you've seen one of those, you've seen them all, haven't you, really? You know, bolts that undo themselves for no apparent reason on fairground rides and that kind of thing, you know, by magic. Instant undoing. It's not how it happens over years, doesn't it? A bolt isn't like undone by the force instantly like that. They just work their way out over time. And finally, we have got again some stunning moulding. Look at this. It's just the crispness of it and the detail of it. Let me bring you in. Just look at that. There's no flash on these, it's completely flawless plastic. But look at this detail they've got here with all these, like the plumbing, the conduits and the wires and the trunking. It's amazing. Absolutely incredible. That's very nice. And then the very last sprue is this one, which has got the It's got lots of parts I don't really recognise. Wait a second. I mean, that looks like the back of a tank, doesn't it? In miniature though. Can you see this? See if you can see what I can see here. Just look at this here, where my finger is. That looks, he looks very close. It's like the top deck of a tank. Like the rear top deck of a tank, like a Panther or something, isn't it? But like it's like they use a very small scale one. Weird. Very odd. And you've got all these like... Oh, okay, so this is the... this is in fact the ramp. The landing ramp here that you walk down. The access ramp. And here's the side view of it. The side of the ramp here. The hydraulics that open it and close it. I mean, it's so well conceived, wasn't it, this stuff back in '77. It's incredible that they were able to come up with something that looks so utterly convincing. A lot of it was done at Pinewood, of course. The vast majority of the film was filmed at Pinewood. And you had all these engineers and carpenters and mechanics working almost 24 hours a day, some of them. Not the individuals, but there was work going on almost round the clock because of the shooting, pressures of the shooting deadlines, and the timelines were very tight. Certainly true on The Empire Strikes Back as well. But look at that, look at the detail on the access tunnel there that goes into the cockpit. So this is the cockpit end here, and this is the main centre of the ship end here. Absolutely brilliant. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's beautiful. So I think I know exactly where this is going in terms of my final verdict. It's exactly what I suspected early on then. I'm just going to change back to my normal glasses so I can see you properly. It's what I kind of expected at the beginning. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. And it should be higher than that because the plastic's perfect. Absolutely award-winning in my view, that should be. But the instructions are dire. Those instructions are not good enough, and there should be an English translation in them. And even if it did have English translation, they're a bit busy and a bit tricky to follow. I think they're a bit heavy going. I think if they'd broken it down a bit more, like Airfix do, to be fair, or even Zokimura, who are detailed but are followable, I think that would have been much better. So it's 9 out of 10 from me, and I kind of think it deserves a 10. There's no way with those instructions it's going to get one because they're just terrible. I mean, they're almost incomprehensible, really. They're not quite border bad, don't get me wrong, it's all relative, you know. But that's not great, it's not great. Anyway, thank you very much to Neil. It's a beautiful piece of plastic in there is fantastic, you know. I think, and you think the scale it's at as well, it's such sharp, perfect moulding. Remarkable, remarkable kit. If you can follow the instructions, I think you'll have a great time building it, because I think it'll go together like a dream, and it will be self-building almost. A minimal clean-up needed. No flash to clean up, you know. It's almost... People complain sometimes saying they're a bit toy-like, but I don't know what they mean by that. I mean, obviously anything with Star Wars is a bit toy-like by definition, but I mean the fact they've got the figures as well, that's good. That's good. But I mean, they didn't give any detail about how to paint them. There was BB-8 in there as well. I didn't notice BB-8. I must have missed this. Hang on a second. You can't leave BB-8 out. That's probably the only thing in The Force Awakens that was worth watching. Where's BB-8? I never saw that. It's not here. I see no robots. Where the heck is he? I didn't see BB-8. I did not. Where's that? I'm gonna have to find it because it's gonna bug me. He's quite small, isn't he? He's not there. He's not there. I don't see him. Don't see him. Where is BB-8? That's going to really bug me now. Hang on a second. Can't leave it until we've seen him. BB-8 was the best character in the film. The only one that could act. I've got to be honest, I didn't really rate Carrie Fisher's performance in that film either, in fairness. I thought she was better in The Last Jedi. Of course, after The Last Jedi came out, it was actually that she died. She died about a week after The Last Jedi came on the screen. Very sad. Too soon. Gone too soon. I like Carrie Fisher. Not the greatest actress in the world, but she's just such a good character. There's BB-8. Oh, there it is. Right, hang on a second. Right, we must see BB-8. So tiny, I completely missed this. Are you ready for BB-8? It's right in the centre of your screen now. That's how tiny he is. You're going to have fun painting that, aren't you? Jeez. Oh my God. You're going to need some... Can I get any closer? You're going to need some Zeiss lenses as well, I think. Turn it round. BB-8, come on. Right, dead centre of your screen now. Wow, okay, there's no wonder I missed it. I don't feel too guilty now. I mean, it's not much bigger than a... His head's not much bigger than the head of a pin. Incredible. Okay, put that back in there, if we can just manoeuvre it in. If it actually works. So that's, yeah, well that's down to the fact that it's at such a small scale, I suppose. Tricky. Tricky to spot him, never mind actually painting. Jeez. Easily missed, I would say, in my defence. Easily missed. Right, I'm going to pop those in there and forget about them for now, and we'll get that all resorted from there for later. Reseal those for him. Sadly, because of the way the public have reacted to these films, well, not very positively, obviously, including me, I think that these are not going to be as collectible as they might have been, which is a shame. Yeah, it's a shame it wasn't the Empire Strikes Back version, really, although that would differ hardly at all. Apart from its radar on the top. There we go, 9 out of 10. Thank you very much, Neil, to let me see that. I'm pleased I've seen it now. And that certainly enthused me about other Bandai products, but I do hope they sort their instructions out, because that's just daft. To not have any English and to have what is a very busy and slightly tricky to follow instructions anyway, and to have no English at all, makes it really challenging, I think. Very challenging, especially on small, especially with it having so many small, tiny parts. It just adds to the problem, really. But it's a beautiful kit. Thank you to Neil. Hope you enjoyed that. I thought it was interesting. 9 out of 10 from me. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, a like. Don't forget to go and subscribe, not only here, if you haven't already. Really? What? You must be kidding me. But also to Peter Goes Rogue over on the other channel. Link below. And there's some things on that channel that are completely different and have something completely different. And next week, or by the time you maybe see this, we'll certainly be having something remarkably different going on. Over a course of 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to have some very entertaining for a different audience and for my normal audience. I think it's going to make people, yeah, it's going to be interesting and enjoyable, something different. Don't miss it. A great thing is being revealed that you haven't ever seen or heard about before. So stay tuned on Peter Goes Rogue, stay tuned here, and we've got some more wonderful ICM kits coming up in the near future as well. So thank you very much for joining me. Until next time, thanks for all your time watching the videos. Take care of yourselves. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.